Hey dolls, welcome back to our channel, and today's video is a review on the Double Exposure palette by Smashbox. If you're interested in viewing a video that will tell you honest opinions, not sponsored by anyone or any place or anything, stay tuned. I will give you my honest opinion and let you know what I feel about this palette and everything that goes along with it. So keep on watching. So friends, I purchased this palette. I was very excited because I already owned a couple of different Smashbox palettes, which I will show you now. And I have them next to me, so I just removed them from where I have them. I have this one that I just purchased, and then I also have the Full Exposure palette, which I have lots of tutorials using, and I was so amazed and happy with the colors. I love that there's a complementary, you know, like the matte and the shimmery, and it also comes with a brush and the huge mirror. I love this palette. And then I also had from Smashbox, I just was really obsessed with Smashbox and its products, so then that's why I didn't really hesitate before purchasing the Double Exposure palette. I also have this palette from Smashbox, and this is the Masterclass palette too, and I loved it because it had, you know, all of these different shades on it, the blush, the highlight, the eyeliner, and all of the eyeshadows in like a book. There's another one too that came out, but it was just so big and bulky, I had no idea where I would put that, so that's the only reason I did not get the other book, the one that came out before the Double Exposure run. So yeah, so those are my Smashbox palettes that I have, these three. And so when I saw that this palette you could use wet and dry, then I was just like, wow, that's gonna be great. But I was a little skeptical as well because, you know, usually when you wet the eyeshadow, like the consistency changes and then it might be hard to apply afterwards and things like that. But I actually tried it, and I'm using the palette right now with this makeup look, which I felt looked really great. I posted some pictures a while back on my Instagram using this palette. When you put on the shadow without the water, it's also very pigmented, but when you put the water on, it's like a real opaque, you know, it's very opaque over your lid. Like you won't see anything underneath. You only need to apply it one time, and it's really opaque and very powerful. And the shades that I'm using today are this one right here, the gold color, which is quartz, and I also used copper. Quartz and copper were the colors that I used. It's so awesome. The top of this one is quartz and this one is copper, I'm sorry. And I used the quartz all over the lid, and then the shade copper I used on the outer corners, and just to darken up the look a little bit. And I just completely love this palette. It goes on so buttery smooth, and as you can see, the shadows don't look any different after I used water with them. And that they also, you know, recommend to use the brush that it comes with for this, and I thought that it was very it was a good idea because you don't want to be wetting all of your other brushes because, you know, obviously then you might need them for something else, but this palette is made for that. So I just decided to use the brush that it came with, and the brush works wonderfully with these eyeshadows. I used this end because the brush is double-ended like all of the brushes that come in the palettes are, and I use like the fat end over here to wet it and apply the color all over the lid, and I felt like it picked up the color well, it distributed well, it blended well. It was really nice. I didn't use the other side of the brush, but I felt like the brush is really good. And what I love about the palette is that I could use it wet or dry at the same time, because it dries really quickly after you've wet, you know, like the surface of it. It dries very quickly, so you're able to use it dry as well. So I used it like to kind of contour the eye and kind of buff it in, the color, and I thought it was just absolutely stunning. It didn't feel moist or anything when I was using it dry with a different brush. It was amazing, and the pigmentation is to die for, like usually all of the Smashbox products are. I'm gonna do a couple of swatches for you from both lines of shadow. I posted this on my Facebook page when I purchased it, and I wanted to use it a little bit, play with it a little bit before I made a review of this product, and I give it 5 stars. So far all of my Smashbox products are like just amazing. I feel like, and on my skin tone, because usually you have to always like consider your skin tone before purchasing a palette, because some palettes will favor lighter skin tones and other palettes might favor darker skin tones, and I feel like this one is very universal. It can favor anybody, and the pigmentation is just ridiculous. it's a great purchase. The only downside was the price. It was like about $50 plus tax, which is a little bit expensive, but I felt like it's worth it, especially if you are a person that likes to use your palette in different ways. And like this one has, instead of the shades that it comes with, it actually has, you know, more shades, because each of the shades look different when you put them on wet. So that's an added advantage for this palette, and I just love the fact that you can do different things with the palette. It's just really amazing to me that you can use it wet or dry. Like, and I use this for a daytime look, but as you can see, it can transition seamlessly into night if I just add a little bit more of a darker color, such as the brown, into the look or whatever, just to accentuate and really define the eyes. And I also love that it comes with a brush. It has a big mirror for you to see yourself in. The packaging is very similar to the Full Exposure palette, except that the Full Exposure has like more of a matte finish, and this one's a little bit less, like, I don't know, it feels a little bit different to me in my hand, but they're approximately the same size. And it does have double effect eyeshadows, which is important to mention. I feel like it's great. It's a great palette. And also you can find this at Sephora. This is where I bought mine, but you can also probably find it on beauty.com, Ulta. They tend to sell different types of products, like such as these, and also you can find them on Amazon. I'm sure you can get those on eBay. So the only thing with those two last sites is that you might find them a little bit more expensive. So if you can swing by a Sephora or like have Sephora shipped to you, then it's great. Although the downside is that you do have to pay for shipping. So I'm just gonna choose this shade over here, and I think then this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is Blanc. So I'm gonna be using Blanc, a wet and dry, and I will also use a matte tone. So I'll choose this one that's over here, and that would be Fig. So I'm gonna do these two, dry and wet, next to each other on my hand, just let you see what it looks like. And so I'm back with the swatches on my hand, and you're gonna see what they look like. Let me do a close-up so you can see. Those are the two colors I chose. This is the dry and this is the wet. And you can see how different they look on camera. More intense, more opaque, and these are just really amazing shades of color. All of them do the same thing, that they look, you know, a lot more opaque, or they have a little bit more of a shimmer to them when they're wet, which is really awesome. So that's one of the reasons I really love this palette. And so that's what it looks like when you use it in that way. I loved the fact that you could just go back and forth and choose wet or dry when you're using it, and it's just an amazing palette all around. I give it a 5-star. If you're interested in a tutorial on how to use this one or any of the palettes that I've shown in another review, please leave them down in the comments and I will be more than happy to share a tutorial on how I use the palette. As you can see, I did this makeup with it. If you're interested in this makeup, you can also leave your comment below and I will be more than happy to show you how I did this makeup using this palette. And as usual, my friends, I want to give you guys a kiss, a hug, and see you next time. I hope that this was helpful if you're interested in purchasing this, and yeah, so bye.